Hello, today we are painting the desert road. So you're gonna get everything out, and the colors today are blue, orange, crimson red, and covering white. So go ahead and hinge your outline to your canvas panel. Get it all set up there just like that. Go ahead and pause. Get set up. Grab your transfer paper. You want it sticky side down, sticky glossy side down. And go ahead and start your outline. And the way you do this is you trace each line with a pen or a pencil. And we're going to trace every line in this instance. Apply some pressure. And you will get a really nice graphite line on your canvas panel. And on this particular painting, the technique we are going to use is we are going to wash in all the colors, and then we are going to paint in all the colors, and then we are going to refine our painting from there. So that's what we're going to do. And as always, we will encourage you to watch the entire step, and then we're going to mark a place where we tell you to pause, and then go ahead and pause. And you can either rewatch that step, or you can go ahead and paint, which is what we encourage you to do. But watch each step, pause where we tell you to, and paint is our plan. All right, go ahead and remove your graphite paper and fold back your outline. And there you go. There's your whole painting. Go ahead and pause. All right, now that everything is in place, go ahead and reach for your blue. Drop that in a well. Reach for your orange and give that a nice drop in a well. This orange is also a lot like a yellow. It's got a lot of yellow in it, and we will use it that way. And reach for your red and drop that in its own well. And then you're going to grab your blue again and drop that into the same well as the red. And grab a lot of water on your biggest brush and mix your red with your blue. And this is the washing everything in stage. A wash is a very loose, watery solution that you're going to paint with. So we want a lot of water there. Go ahead and pause, mix your colors, and paint in your road. We're going to wash in the tops of the rocks too, but this is a very loose, watery stage, and we're basically marking everything off. So we know where everything is. We're making a nice map for ourselves with a loose, watery coat of paint. Grabbing my smaller brush, and I'm painting in with our loose, watery solution the tops of the rocks. Anywhere you see that really dark violet color, we are filling it in with some violet right here. So that's that background area in the middle, the tops of the rocks. Go ahead and pause, wash in your violets. Grab your medium brush, get some water on it, and paint in your rocks. We're making them all orange. And I grab my medium brush because I want to really be careful and go around what will be our bushes. So that's kind of what I'm taking my time to do. And the reason we're washing in color is so you keep your lines so you can still see them. That's why we do this. That's the method to the madness. So I'm washing in all the areas that are kind of reddish or yellow. They're all going to be washed in with an orange at this point. And then you're going to loosen up your blue and wash in the sky. Going around the clouds. And again, we don't have to be too careful, but we want to be able to see our lines. So we have a nice map from where to go there. Go ahead and pause. All right. Reach for your red. Drop that in its own well. And reach for your blue. Drop that in its own well. And reach for your orange. And you're actually going to drop that in the same well as your blue. And in this particular instance, your orange is going to work like yellow and make a really beautiful forest green. And the reason we're making it green that way is because we're going for a really tight color palette, because you get really harmonious color that way. And we're going to go ahead and mix the green with the colors we're using. Go ahead and paint in your bushes. Wash in your bushes. Again, this is our very loose, watery stage. And it's tricks like these where you use the same colors, the same 3 colors to mix everything, that keep your painting really, really consistent. And so we're just anywhere on the reference that you see a bush, make that green right now with our loose, watery solution. All right, loosen up the red you dropped in before, and we're going to wash in the red parts of the rocks. So that's up the, these kind of striping the top left side. Being kind of careful around some of these bushes. This sort of median red stripe. This base area in the front left foreground. The background areas, that sort of center stripe on the right rock. The base. Go ahead and wash out your brush, wash those areas in. Reach for your blue. Add blue to that existing well. Reach for your white. We're going to drop that in the middle because we're going to keep drawing from it. And add a little bit to your blue. Mix your blue with your white. And at this point, we're actually going to start painting. So this is going to be the first layer of thick, dense paint that we apply to the canvas. So we're mixing up our sky blue, and we're going to paint that, add a little water, but we're going to paint the top of the sky first with our big brush. Generously apply a loose, thick layer of paint to the top of the sky. Cover up all the holes. And now we're going to add some white to that same mixture, because your sky gets lighter as it gets closer to the horizon line, and paint in the rest of the sky. And I started with the big brush, and I chose the smaller brush to get into those little nooks and crannies. And then I blended where the 2 paints came together. Go ahead and pause, paint in your sky. Grab your crimson red and your blue, it's the same red we've been using, but I called it by its full name this time. We're using about equal parts, so I'd say a little bit less blue than red. Mix that up. Mix this really deep, beautiful violet color. Grab some white, add it to your violet color. And it's still going to be a rich purple, or rich violet, but it's going to be a little bit lighter than it was. And then take a dollop of that, put that in another well, and add some white. And that's going to be your lighter violet color. This is going to be what we paint our road with. Get that going. So I'd say that's a full shade lighter. Using the big brush, paint in the top of your road. Generously apply, keep it nice and wet. Now reach for your darker tone, paint that into the base. And then we're going to massage those 2 together, get a lot of water on your brush, and blend. And I'm just going to kind of even that out for a little while. Clean it up with some water. Blend that together. We have a nice smooth transition. Go ahead and pause. Paint the road. All right, you're going to reach for your orange. Drop that in a well. Then reach for your red. Drop that right next to it, equal parts. Grab that violet tone. Whatever you have left, really either one will work. If you're a light tone or your dark tone, it'll just be a little different. And add some of that to your red-orange mixture, and we're going to get this really beautiful rosy rust color. And we're going to paint that into all of the areas that are kind of reddish at this point. We're going to start with this, and then we're going to work our way up from there. But that's going to be the top of your big rock on the left, this striping on the rock on the right, this background tone a little bit. There's kind of a wedge, this medium, this area in the foreground on the left. We're going to start with this rust tone and move our way out from there. So hit all those areas, and then I'm reaching for my smaller brush. And this was the red that was already there. If you need more red, add it. So this is just straight up red. And I am going to paint in the red, so it kind of transitions up from that rust area. I'm going to make that straight up red. Underneath that rosy stripe the rosy rust stripe that we just added. Underneath that stripe right there. Some of these small areas, go ahead and pause. Get in the rust in the red. Grab your orange. And then add your orange to the red. We're going to need more red there. Grab your white. Drop some white into both of those wells. Grab your medium brush. Mix up this light orange tint. It becomes kind of a medium orange. And then you're going to mix this red orange tint. And if you look, that's not different enough from what we had before. So we're going to add some red to that. So we're going to have a red orange plus white and orange plus white. And starting with that red orange, this kind of peachy orange, we're going to mix that into what's already there. So that's this kind of milky tone that we're adding now to the tops of our rocks. We added it to the middle, some of these areas on the side. Then we're going to really fill in the rest of our rocks with this orange and white tone. So the rest of the orangey parts of the rocks. So everywhere you don't have paint, we're going to fill it in with that tone. And if you see, our rocks are really shaping up. We've got a lot of nice color and transition. And now I'm just taking a smaller brush and I'm moving the paint that's already on my canvas around with some water and filling in the holes. And just touching it up wherever I see that it needs more of something. Right now I'm going in with some of the rosy, kind of peachy orange color. I really like that color. All right, go ahead and pause. Fill in those rocks. Now we're going to grab our lighter violet mixture. And if you need to make more of that, it was the red and the orange plus white, or the red and the blue plus white. And we are just going to generously, with a loose brush stroke, paint in the bases of the clouds. Keep it nice and wet because we're going to be transitioning, wet on wet. And I'm going to add some white to that. And I am going to massage that into what's there. Fill in a little more of the clouds. We're working our way up. Paint it in with a nice, loose, wide brush stroke. And then, go ahead and pause. Get that in. We're going to reach for our white that's probably got some noise, probably got some blue in it. And I'm going to hit the tops of the clouds with the white that was left on my canvas. If you need to add more, grab more white. We're going to massage that from the top down. So we were working bottom up. We're now going top down on our clouds. And the clouds have this really beautiful puffy texture. Go for it. Keep your brush strokes nice and big. And finish filling in the clouds. Go ahead and pause. Paint your clouds. Grab your red. Drop it in a well. Grab your blue. Drop it in a well. With my medium brush, mix these guys together. Very rich, dark purple. Beautiful color. It's a little dark for what we're doing, so we're going to add a touch of white to that. And this touch of white, it's still going to be a dark, rich purple, but it's just going to look a little bit more like itself and not look like a black oversaturated color. And we're going to paint in our darkest areas. So that is the tops of our rocks. This kind of middle background area. And when we're done with this, we will have painted in all the areas we washed in before. Everything will be covered. We're going to hit this dark area in the front. Move along that edge. This kind of middle ground area. Go ahead and pause, paint in those areas. All right, now we're going to grab our small brush, and this is the refinement stage. And we're going to take our green, paint in the bases of our bushes. We're going to add some white to that green. And because it's completely overhead light in this instance, all of the tops of our bushes are going to get this kind of green tint that goes on top. And we're going to clean these up later, but we're going to make sure this is the last stage. We're painting in our small details like these bushes. And then I'm going in with just some water on a clean brush and blurring that edge of dark green and light green. Go ahead and pause, paint in the bushes. Grab your white. Add the white to both your straight up orange and if you still have white in the middle of your canvas, leave it there. If not, add some more there because we're going to hit our white a little later. And this is going to be your lightest areas of the rocks are going to get this highlight tone. And at its lightest, because this orange has a lot of white already in it, or a lot of yellow in it, it's going to come across almost like a yellow because we have so much red on the page. So this is going to look very yellow and warm like the sunlight. And we're just painting in these highlighted areas, smaller strokes, a little bit more control. The striping. This is where the rock changes its texture, or it's texture, it's topography, and it's catching the light of the sun from above. So small, short strokes in these areas. This is breaking up the work we've already done, giving it some highlight, giving it some warmth. The side of the road detail. You might want to watch this a couple times because there's a lot of little spots we go in. Go ahead and pause, paint in your light areas. We're going to just work with that rust color that we worked with before, and we're just going to reinforce all the areas we want to hit that really rich color. Anywhere that's looking a little too thin, we're going to reinforce with that red color, rusty red. If you need more of it, this was your red, your orange, plus a little bit of the violet mixture. So I'm going with a small brush and small strokes and painting in those areas. Grab your orange. We're going to paint straight up orange from the tube with our small brush. Hit all of these really rich orange areas. And be looking at your painting. You might have really hit some of these areas first and they don't need it. So take a look at your reference and take a look at your painting. Do some comparison. What needs some straight up orange, but now is the time to add it. Go ahead and pause. Paint in your orange. And then reach for your lightest green. If you need to make more, that was your orange and your blue plus a lot of white. And these are just some small strokes right on top. Hit your highlights one last time. Be thinking that this is vegetation, it's leaves. Just kind of keep that in mind when you're making your strokes. Go ahead and pause, paint in your bushes. Grab your white, or if you added it to the center of your palette before and you still got some, and with your big brush or actually your medium brush and your white, paint in some hard white on top. Hit the tops of your clouds and anywhere that's going to catch some light from above with your white. You can use your big brush too. Looks like I used my smaller one or my medium one. And sign your landscape painting and display it. And thanks for painting with us today.